Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So in this video we're going to be looking at my top 3 picks on the Technos version of the Super Pocket. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. Okay guys, so before I look at my top 3, there was one game that I nearly decided to put into it, and it was this one, Double Dragon Game Boy, obviously this 8-bit handheld version. Now it nearly made the top 3, but I got a little bit frustrated playing it and I thought, nah, I'm going to just put it outside. But it's still a really good version of Double Dragon, so sadly it did not make the top 3. As I said, I really enjoyed playing it, but I got a little bit frustrated with one of the bosses and I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Although I did eventually pass it, it sort of left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth whilst playing it. And interestingly enough, it was actually one of the first bosses, and I thought it was just extremely frustrating to actually play. And I feel as if I was getting pummeled every time. Now, there is a specific way of beating it, but I just felt it was unfairly balanced for like a first boss in the game. And obviously once you lose your lives, it's not like arcade, you can just put in an insert a coin and continue. You basically only have 3 lives, and once they're gone, that's it. And if you lose your life here, you basically get sent back to the start of this boss again, which is really frustrating. But eventually I did pass it and it was a bit of a relief, or maybe a surprise, but it was still a little bit too frustrating to me. I definitely did not enjoy this experience at all. And I definitely did pass it eventually, and I think the next couple of stages were nowhere near as difficult as that one, which was kind of interesting. It's still a very good game, but that sort of boss, as I said, it left a bad taste in my mouth, and I got a little bit frustrated. But still, probably one of the best versions of Double Dragon in this collection for me. I prefer this over the NES version, Double Dragon 2 Arcade, etc, etc. But I think this is still very good, just very frustrating first boss, which is where a lot of people might even just give up and stop playing, which is probably a bit of a shame. Okay then, on to my top 3, and at number 3 is Blockout, and this game absolutely surprised the heck out of me because I wasn't really a big fan of it on the EXP or the VS. It just didn't seem to fit, but on this device it really takes on a new life for me. And I really enjoyed it. It actually really surprised me, although it is very difficult, and I feel as if sometimes once you make a mistake it's almost impossible to come back from, and it does take a little bit of a while to get used to which of these buttons, which direction to swivel the actual blocks, but still a very fun game, and it seems to find new life for me on the Super Pocket. I've made pretty good progress with the game so far, but again, like I said, if you make a mistake like that, it sometimes can be a little bit tricky to recover from. I guess the sort of colours up the side sort of let you know which level these obviously you're at. But like I say, sometimes if you make a mistake you're better off probably trying to start again, which I guess is where these save states come in very handy indeed. But eventually there is, I think, about 20 odd levels maybe, and it gets more and more difficult. Obviously gets a little bit faster as well. I need to remember not to press this button until you're sure that you're going to place the block down. Sometimes I forget which way to move the blocks. It gets a little bit frustrating, but it is a very addictive game, so give it a chance and you might actually enjoy it. Obviously it is very much like Tetris meets Columns in that 3D style, but I think it's actually really good, and as I said, it surprised me how much I actually enjoyed playing the game. Like I say, it takes a little bit of time to get used to where to actually place the block, and it does get trickier the faster the game moves, and that's where I probably lose the plot a little bit. But still, I think it's a really good game and works fantastically well on the Super Pocket. Now next up for me, it's Double Dragon Arcade. Now this is the game that we did not get on an Evercade cartridge due to some slowdown in the emulation and basically just in the game, and that's understandable. It is still there. But I guess it's nowhere near as bad. I have played this version on a few different machines and the slowdown is a lot worse, so I think Blaze have done a decent job, but it's not perfect. There is still slowdown in the game the more enemies that you have on the screen. But I still enjoy playing it, and I think it's probably one of the best Double Dragon games on here, if not the best Double Dragon game on this collection. I think it's an excellent fun game. Fingers crossed it comes onto an Evercade cart at some point. Graphically it's very nice. It does move at a nice pace. I guess if there's only 1 or 2 enemies on the screen, it still goes at a nice pace. The moves are great. The music is fantastic, but it does still have slowdown in certain parts of the game when there's a lot of enemies sort of appear. It's obviously, it is a bit of a coin guzzler. It does get very, very tricky. But with this being obviously emulation, you can just insert a coin and keep on playing, and it's a lot of fun to do so. Just make sure you don't do silly moves like that and die. They just go straight for the weapons every single time. I think the computer definitely cheats you. They know where to stand exactly 1 cell away from you so you don't actually get hit with the weapons. Crazy stuff. It is such a shame that we never seen this on an Evercade cartridge. I really think they should have just released it as it was. I don't think anyone would have complained at all, because it is a really good version. It probably, just arguably, could be the best version of Double Dragon. Not a big fan of Double Dragon 2 or 3. I think this one is fantastic, and I can probably see why there's a lot of fans for Double Dragon, because this is excellent stuff, really good fun. Oh, I just died after getting a hug. Weird stuff. Now for me, the best game on the Super Pocket Technos version is definitely the Comba Tribes. And that was my favourite game on Technos Arcade on Evercade. I think it's excellent. Definitely surpasses the Double Dragon games. Not quite the same sort of scrolling, sort of beat 'em up like those games are. It's more like a screen that just scrolls on for a couple of sort of slides, and then eventually you'll defeat a boss. But it's still very good. I think the sprites are large, the music's great, everything about it is fun, lots of different moves. It's very fluid. For me, this is definitely the best game on this Super Pocket. It is a bit of a coin guzzler, just like most of the arcade games on here, but it's nowhere near as frustrating or as tough to play through than those games. You can actually just keep inserting coins and press the start button and build up your health at the corner here, and just basically ignore that function, which is quite handy, I think. And I love the fact you can lift up the characters and chuck them about. It's certainly quite amusing, and you can obviously run as well. And you've got a sort of flying knee move. You get 3 different characters to choose from at the start. Lots of different stages. I think there's about 6 or 7 stages with bosses in between. The end stage, you basically refight everybody in the game, the standard fare for the end of a game, and then you have the final boss, and then you can complete the game. I think this game is absolutely brilliant. Certainly a nice bit of variety with the enemies per level, that is. Obviously there's a lot of repetitive enemies per stage. But there's a nice bit of variety between the actual stages, unlike maybe something like Final Fight where you probably face the same old enemies time and time again. There are some different ones through each stages, which is quite nice. Obviously I'm really struggling here, but I always love picking up the characters and chucking them about, or bashing their brains in or something like that, which is quite surprising, but it's nicely different to some of the other beat-em-ups on the collection. As I said, a fantastic game. This last stage, you basically refight everybody that you've already fought in the game again. That is quite long, but the game itself probably isn't that long to sort of take. You'll probably be able to defeat it in a couple of hours, I guess, in a solid playthrough. And honestly, I think this is fantastic. Those big sprites, the graphics, it definitely stands out for me, and it's much more fun to play than a lot of the games on this collection. So I would buy it definitely for these top 3 games. The rest I'm not really a big fan of. Probably not my most favourite Super Pocket that's been released. But yeah, it still has some good games. I think if you love Double Dragon, you'll get a lot more out of it than me, for example. But anyway, still think this is by far the best game on this Super Pocket. Guys, let me know what you think. What is your favourite or top 3 games on this Super Pocket? I would be interested to know. I'm pretty sure everyone's opinions will be completely different, and that is okay. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now. Oof, bet you weren't expecting that. I certainly wasn't.